Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Alan sent me a note and said, Steve, check this out regarding Tesla. Now, the story was widely reported, including on Jalopnik, a website I used to write for. But I found a story here with more detail on CNN Business. Tesla says our failure to make actual self-driving cars is not fraud. And so we've been promised self-driving cars the way we were promised jetpacks, flying cars, all kinds of things we've been promised. And so if somebody says somewhere down the road we're going to have this, and if they even give you a time frame and say we think we can have this in a couple of years, if a couple of years goes by and it's not there, did they commit fraud? Did they lie? Or what was going on there? What would you classify that as? Because in the law, it gets defined one way, but common human nature defines it a different way. But let's get into this because there's a lawsuit involved. Peter Valdez, the Pina, wrote this. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said numerous times since 2015 that Tesla cars would be entirely self-driving in 2 years or less. Now, I could do the math on this. I'm a busy man, but I think that time is now behind us. Years after that self-imposed goal, it still hasn't happened. Even when equipped with a $15,000 technology package that's literally called full self-driving capability, a Tesla car cannot actually drive by itself fully. So lawyers for Tesla are arguing that while the company may have failed to live up to these lofty goals, that doesn't mean it perpetrated a fraud, as alleged in a class action lawsuit filed in September. So some of the people who own these cars, which were supposedly going to become full self-driving but haven't, are filing a class action. Mere failure to realize a long-term aspirational goal is not fraud, Tesla's lawyers wrote in a court filing, which they submitted back in November, and they've asked the lawsuit to be dismissed. So they are calling the goal of full self-driving as an aspirational one. They are hoping to get there. That's what they hope to achieve. That's where they're headed. But if they haven't gotten there yet, it doesn't matter because they just aspire to it. They have not legally promised it. That's what they're saying. The lawsuit cited numerous times when Musk and others at Tesla had stated that within a year or two, the cars would be fully self-driving thanks to software updates. And of course, nowadays, cars can be updated with their software. So it's possible that if they came up with the proper software, that they could update your car and boom, it's now capable of fully self-driving. Hasn't happened yet. So, for instance, in a 2016 tweet, Musk stated that a Tesla car would be able to drive itself across the U.S. by next year. Now, if he says that in 2016, that means that should have been capable of doing that by 2017, I would think. Later that year, Tesla published a video, also cited in the lawsuit, which the automaker said showed one of its cars driving itself. The video is misleading according to the lawsuit because some Tesla employees involved in the video said that numerous attempts had been made before the car could be shown to maneuver through the route without obvious problems. So they're alleging that they showed a video to people but didn't show the other videos where it didn't quite work that way. The lawsuit's filed by a California law firm, and they also cited numerous cases of crashes involving the use of Tesla's driver assist technology. Even among advanced driver assistance systems, a type of technology now widely available from many automakers, Tesla's autopilot system falls behind those now available in global markets from other companies, including Mercedes-Benz and Honda. So according to the lawsuit, Tesla's not even at the cutting edge of this. They've fallen behind others. Now, autopilot is Tesla's name for its driver assistance system that helps keep the car in its lane on a highway. It is supposed to allow it to automatically avoid other cars, though it has had problems with that, particularly with stopped emergency vehicles. There are a couple of very, very well-publicized examples of emergency vehicles stopped on the side of the road, and a Tesla on autopilot ran into them. Tesla said the system is designed to respond to moving vehicles, since reacting to non-moving objects could be dangerous. It can also change lanes while avoiding other cars. But as you and I both know, if you're driving a car, you need to be aware of both moving things and non-moving things. because there might be a non-moving thing in the roadway, right? Or a moving thing not in the roadway coming towards the roadway. These are all issues. Many other car companies offer similar systems. The name autopilot has come under criticism from safety groups and even governments for implying too great a degree of independent control. Tesla and Musk have defended the name because in airplanes, the autopilot system still requires an active and alert pilot at the controls. A German court ruled in 2020 that Tesla should not be allowed to advertise its driver assist technology as autopilot, although the complaint was later thrown out, allowing the use of the term. So a German court temporarily agreed to this position. And of course, that's not something you can cite in America. Now, full self-driving capability is Tesla's name for an additional system that, in limited release beta versions, allowed the car to independently handle steering, braking, and accelerating in more complex environments such as city streets. According to Tesla's website, the feature no longer handles steering on city streets, but only the gas and the brakes. Tesla and Musk have said that with future software improvements that will be delivered over the air like smartphone updates, cars with these systems will one day soon be able to drive themselves with no involvement from a person. Again, that's soon. Not now, soon. A couple of years down the road, maybe. A year down the road, possibly. Soon? What's all that mean? So this is not the case yet, and Tesla has missed its own predictions about when that would be possible, and they've missed them several times. Just failing to meet Musk's own expectations is not evidence that anyone purposely tried to deceive customers, which would constitute fraud, Tesla said in their response. Moreover, according to Tesla, buyers should have been well aware of the limitations of these systems before purchasing them, based on Tesla's disclaimers on its website and its owner's manuals. So apparently, if you read their website disclaimers and their owner's manuals, they say these things are not full self-driving. The statements that the company makes, though, is that somewhere down the road they will be, including some that contain dates or timeframes. They will be within a year. They will be within a couple years. So if you bought the car, read the disclaimers, said, I understand it's not full self-driving right now, but he said it would be within 2 years. Are you safe as a consumer assuming that 2 years from now, down the road, your car will become full self-driving, notwithstanding the owner's manual or the warnings and disclaimers in the ads? That's the entire question here. Tesla said the plaintiffs didn't show that. Tesla also listed a number of other more technical reasons the suit should be dismissed, including that most of the plaintiffs had agreed to an arbitration clause when ordering their cars. Tesla also argued too much time had elapsed since the cars were purchased, and the plaintiffs hadn't really been harmed by the fact the cars never drove themselves, despite the system being called full self-driving and costing more than $15,000. And some people might actually point out that the lack of harm does not refer to simply physical harm. Loss of money is harm, damages, and cash damages. So if I lose my money, that's harm I can sue for. It's compensable harm. However, this boils down to a concept that does confuse a lot of people. And it's simply this. If I make a statement to you and you rely on that statement and you get harmed, not by me, but by your reliance upon the statement, can you sue me for having made the statement? And I purposely made that very, very vague because a lot of things can happen to make that into either a very good case or not a good case at all. And so it starts with, did I make a statement that is objectively measurable? If I said we'll have full self-driving cars soon, what does soon mean? Okay, but if I say that we'll have full self-driving cars by January 1st, 2023, well, that's measurable. That sounds like a concrete promise. If I say we'll have them in a couple years, a little less concrete. I say we'll have them in 2 years, a little more concrete. And I'm sure you can see where that's going. And so when Elon Musk makes statements and he appears to be speaking for the company, are those statements more important than the statements in the commercials and ads and websites and owner's manuals? Because we've all encountered this. You go to a dealership to buy a car, whether new or used. The salesman's talking away, saying all kinds of stuff to you. I've done entire videos on this. And when it comes time to sign documents, one of the documents says every single thing that salesman said is unenforceable as a matter of law, and you agree to that by signing the contract. You go, what about all the stuff he said? Well, you want the car, sign the contract. You sign the contract, boom, everything he said out the window. Most states will enforce that. So, is it actionable when someone tells you something's going to happen in the future? And a lot of it boils down to whether or not it's the kind of thing that that person has control of and can know at the moment they make the statement that it's objectively true or objectively false. So if Elon Musk's own engineers sat down with him one day and said, dude, we think we're within a year or 2 years of this happening. We really think we can do this. When he stands up and says, guys, we're going to have it in a year or two. Okay? He's being honest. He's saying what he believes to be true. But is that actionable? Is that actionable? And so, as you can imagine, Tesla's got lawyers. I think they got more than a few. And the lawyers have said, to cover ourselves, just in case the stuff doesn't work out, we'll put warnings all over the website, warnings all over the owner's manuals. And if people ask the specific question, are these full self-driving right now? The answer is no, they are not. Do you have a date for when they will become full self-driving? No, we do not. Do you think they will become that somewhere down the road? Yes, we do. So it's a very, very interesting case because the plaintiffs want you to think that those statements a year or two down the road will have this, should be actionable. And a court could go either way on this. A court could say that's a question of fact for a jury to decide. And where someone could get in trouble on this is if they start putting up all the statements made by Elon Musk and say, look at all these statements, and it appears he was promising something. But the more statements you make that don't come out to be true, it's the boy who cried wolf. At what point do you say he just keeps saying that? He keeps saying that. But interestingly, you'll notice that they also complain about the length of time since people bought these vehicles. And that's a statute of limitations question. And so in many cases, the statute of limitations on a purchased product would come from the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. That'd be 4 years from the date of purchase. So a lot of people who bought their vehicles 4 years or more ago would be out on this just as a matter of the statute of limitations, depending on if that's how they interpret it there. And again, who knows? All bets could be off in California. So that's where we are right now with respect to the story that Tesla is now saying they have not delivered actual full self-driving cars. But that was never a promise. It was an aspiration. It was an aspiration. I mentioned before when corporations come up with new names for stuff. It's an aspiration. You can't sue us for having aspirations that don't come true. So Peter Valdez DePina wrote that. Alan sent it. And Alan, by the way, I've had other people named Alan send me stories. And Alan said, Steve, this is the first story I'm sending you. And he wrote, whoop, whoop, right after that. So I think it's important to say, Alan, whoop, whoop, thanks for sending it. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Inside every cynical person, there's a disappointed idealist.